today to talk with you all. I hope everyone had a good Mother's Day and got to spend time with your family, with your mothers or mothers with their children. I got to spend time with my children and my grandchildren and a couple great-grandchildren, and we had a really good time. So I thought, a lot of times I don't get out that much, so it was fun to get out and go see the family, and we went out to eat, and like I said, we had a good time talking to each other, making plans for the future, which, it's summertime now, and I plan to do a lot more this summer than what I've done in the last couple years. I've been kind of, last year my husband had passed away, and I didn't get out that much, and then it's been winter time. Went on that cruise, and then since I've been back, I've pretty much just gone to doctor appointments and a few little family things here and there, Easter and things like that. Anyway, back to doctor appointments. I have a lot of doctor appointments, and that's something, I guess, when you get older, it starts increasing. And so I wanted to share some things, and I've got my notes here because I have a hard time remembering. But I wanted to talk a little bit about health and physicality when we're getting older. And things that we need to work on is strength training. That's just non-negotiable, because if you can't build up your balance and keep your muscles working at the functioning that you are, I mean, we do lose muscle mass, we lose, gravity pushes us down. I've got osteoporosis, so I have to really work on the bone health, taking my medication and doing what I need to do to keep up with that. And so with the strength training, what they tell us is muscle mass is the key to independence and preventing falls. I have occasional falls, but I haven't fallen as much this year as I did last year. So I broke my wrist last year. I'm still not discharged because I had surgery, and it's just not been healing like it should. It's not building up the strength. So I do a lot of flexibility and strength exercises. Hopefully when I go back on June 1st, they'll discharge me, and I will just continue to keep working on it. Anyway, when I broke my wrist, I had the home health coming in to help me out, and the physical therapist would come, and we couldn't really do anything with my wrist because I was in 2 different casts, had surgery, I was in a brace for many months. So what we worked on was balance. When I fell and broke my wrist, it wasn't because of balance. I don't want anybody to get that misconception. I was actually out cutting my grass, and I stepped backward and stepped into a hole, and I went down and my wrist broke. So that's another thing. When you are out and about and you're by yourself, be sure to have your phone, because I was cutting grass and I thought, I don't have a pocket. I'll get all hot and sweaty if I put it in my pants belt and stuff. And so I was like, I left it laying on the porch. Well, then when I fell, I was kind of like, I sprained my ankle, I broke my wrist, and I had a heck of a time getting up. And I was sitting there thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? The neighbors had just walked by and gone into their house, and I couldn't holler out for them because they couldn't have heard me. And so I had to get myself up and get to the porch where the phone was and call my daughter. And of course, her sister from her father's second marriage came to help, and my daughter came, and we went to the emergency room, and they fixed it for that night, and then I had to go back and get a cast and all that stuff, and it's just a never-ending story. Anyway, so what I was saying about the physical therapist, we were working on balance exercises, like doing knee bends and standing on one foot and getting up and down from a seated position and doing like 10 repetitions each time, starting out with as many as you can do. If you can do 2, you do 2. If you can do 10, you do 10. And then the next time you might do 15. And I think I had built up to like 20 when the physical therapy discharged me from their program, because my balance was getting so much better, and I could continue those exercises on my own. So being sure that you do your flexibility, your strength training, to make sure that you're moving your hands, you're moving your arms, you're moving your legs, you're getting up and walking, you're doing things to keep your body and your muscle mass going. And talking about, I mentioned flexibility, that's the next thing, because being flexible is as important as strength. Stretching and balance exercises keep you moving safely. And I touched on that when we were talking about strength training. Keep yourself flexible. Be able to get around. Get yourself up if you fall. Watch YouTube videos. I did that. I watched YouTube videos to see what to do to get myself up if I fell. So now I'm better at it, and I know to keep things in reach, and I have Alexas all over the house. So if anything was to happen, I could just call out and ask her to call my daughter, and call 911 or whichever I need. Anyway, and also I'm keeping my phone on me more. Every once in a while I catch myself leaving it and I go back and get it. Okay, and then the next thing about your health and your physicality, I have a hard time pronouncing that word, is listen to the whispers before they become screams. When you have added pains or more aches, address it with your doctor. Don't let it get so far gone that it takes so much more to bring you back or to keep you physically able to stay in your home. I want to stay in my home as long as I can. I don't want to have to go move in with my children or go in a nursing home or a rehab hospital. I want to stay home. I'm independent and I like being by myself. And I can find a lot of things to do, like reading and doing puzzles, watching television. So there's so many things that you can still do in the home. Basic cleaning. Okay, and then another point that I wanted to make is hydrate yourself. Hydration affects everything, from your mental clarity to joint pain, and drinking enough water is vital. I'd rather drink coffee than water anytime. And in the past I've always said, well, the coffee has water in it. I put water in it and that's what I brewed it with. Doctors tell me that's not the same thing. So I just want to remember every day to get in at least 60 to 80 ounces of water. And I keep a water bottle at all times, or a glass. I always have a glass of water going, and I like it good and cold, so that just keeps it cold for me, and I sip on it all day. When I don't drink enough water, I know it because my urine gets darker. I don't feel as well, and when I start getting dehydrated, my health just starts to go down. And so I get more headaches. I'm not as mentally clear. So drinking water is really important. And then my last thing on my bullet points is energy is fitness, or energy is important. This is real life. I'm just not the best at remembering what I had to say, and I'm putting it down, and then I'm having trouble reading it back sometimes. So, you know, where do you spend your daily spoons of energy? If you look at your energy like spoons full of sugar, or spoons full of protein, or spoons full of whatever you want to put in your spoon, how do you spend them each day? You know, if you have energy, use it wisely. If you get up in the morning and you don't feel like doing anything, then, you know, get you a cup of coffee or drink a glass of milk, eat breakfast. Maybe you might feel better later and you might get that boost of energy. Maybe you left some couple dishes in the sink last night. I have a habit of doing that. Sometimes I try not to do it. I usually don't, but occasionally I forget that they're in there, and I will go wash the dishes. Or I'll change my bed when I have a big burst of energy. I'll change the bed. I'll put it in a load of laundry. And, you know, that's something that, you know, do I feel like going to the park, or do I feel like going downtown? Yesterday, I went to the Dollar Tree and to a couple other places. I went to the grocery store, and so other times I just call and do a pickup order, or I have a delivery if I don't have the energy or think I can get out. I only drive maybe once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. So, you know, it's how you feel and how you're willing to spend your energy. Allot it out so that you can get the most out of it. And in the end, you feel so much better about yourself and the things that you accomplish. And even if they're not the same kind of things that we accomplished in the past, we're accomplishing what we can do now. And, you know, I sometimes have to rest up for a couple of days before I have to do a big thing. I'm going to go on a field trip with my 2 great-grandsons in a couple weeks. And a couple of days before that, I will be resting up because I'll need my energy. I'll be eating good. I'll be drinking water. And then I will go on the field trip with them. When I come back, I may have to rest up a couple days, but I'm going to do what I can do to stay as healthy as possible and to do as much as I can, because I want to be around to see those great-grandchildren as long as I can, and do as much as I can to be with them and share my time with them, because they are fun little guys. I just love being with them, and it's just a great thing to stay healthy for. So I just wanted to talk about those things today with you and share some of the things, you know, that I do. I mean, all of these things don't work for you. I'd like for you to put things in the comments that you do to stay healthy, and maybe I can start picking up some of those habits too, because I will do anything I can to stay in this world as long as I can and be as healthy as I can and stay in my home, like I said before. And as long as I'm healthy and able to do what I need to have done, I'll be able to stay here. Anyway, I really appreciate you stopping in, and I will see you on the next one. I enjoy your company. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.